Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the KBDBT channel. I'm sure for a lot of you, this was a long awaited video since I know it's been about a month since I last posted, and I really wanted to just come back and revisit my thoughts after my first month of working as a full time doctor of physical therapy. I started out recording a few episodes of my Day in the Life series as a new grad PT, but I ended up feeling like that wasn't capturing everything that I had hoped, and I feel like it would have been better for me to sit down and tell you all of my thoughts so that I can have everything kind of collected. And after actually considering it and thinking things over week by week, I have a better idea of how I felt after each of it. Whereas in the moment, like I do in my Day in the Life series, I feel like I was being a little bit repetitive because I hadn't thought it through yet. A lot of the time I was recording either right after I had finished my day or even the next day when I really didn't have a lot of time because I was taking the chance once I got home to rest and recover, since being a new graduate physical therapist definitely has its mental toll in terms of those first couple weeks, months, and even years as you're starting to get your own groove and everything. So, this is the video to kind of tell you how it went. So, let's start with exactly how my first week went and go from there. To start off, my first week began with meeting up with one of the physical therapists at the subacute rehabilitation centers that I am at in the morning, and I really just got to shadow them, ask questions, have the opportunity to see how the documentation system works, see all of the things that I need to submit every day for each of the patients that I'm working with. For us, for example, there are some items such as submitting the FIM or the TNETI on certain days of the week, depending on the insurance coverage that the patient has. So I kind of got an overview of all of that and made sure that I felt comfortable doing all of my punching in and out for the day, just kind of the administrative tasks. And the following day, I had the opportunity to do my first evaluation on my own, get my first patient that is in my own wing, because how it's kind of working at the facility that I am at is we have basically 3 floors. I am up on the third floor and I get 2 of the wings, whereas another physical therapist gets the other 2 wings on the opposite side of the building. So I kind of have 2 hallways to myself, and I have the opportunity to work with resident nurses, to work with the CNAs, to work with the doctors who are coming in and checking on these patients throughout the day, as well as, of course, case management and some of the other specialty areas such as wound care and things like that, depending on what each patient needs. But during that first day, I did that evaluation. I had the opportunity to run through creating that note for that patient, making sure the orders were in and the plan of care was submitted. And then I got to follow that same physical therapist for the remainder of the day. And essentially, for the rest of the week, after that point, I went from taking on 2 patients. The next day, on that Wednesday, on Thursday, I took 3 or 4. And then on Friday, I believe I ended the week taking about 4 patients, which was about, I want to say, a quarter of what my day will typically be because I am on a 4-10s schedule. So I will be doing 10-hour days, which is what I have been doing starting the second week, which is where I continued off where I ended on Friday of last week. I really started to go into the 4-10s, so I came in on the first day of the week. I did 4 patients again, then I started bumping it up to 5, then to 6, and then I believe I was in the 6 to 7 period on that last day of the week. So I was slowly progressing, and it was really, really nice because everyone at the facility that I am at has been so open to all of the questions that I have had, been willing to take the time to make sure that I know where to find everything whenever I had questions or wasn't exactly sure on anything. And of course, as I was just finding my way around the facility and getting to each of the rooms, even the nursing staff and everyone was so helpful. So it has been so great so far. And I definitely, in those first 2 weeks, though, felt quite tired mentally. I think that was the biggest thing for me during those first 2 weeks was just trying to learn the entirely new documentation system on top of being able to do those treatments and manage my own schedule, because those patients that I am given each day, I am not told, at 8 o'clock I'm seeing this person, at 9 I'm seeing this person. In our skilled facility, we basically are assigned a list of patients for the day based on how long we are there, or at least in my case, what caseload I feel comfortable with getting done within my 10-hour day that I have so far. And we go into the patient's rooms and kind of schedule it out based on how much time we are allotted based on those who created the schedule for us. So for a lot of my patients that I've had so far, it's typically between a 30-minute to a 45-minute treatment session. Sometimes we are given a little bit extra time whenever they have a progress note, a discharge summary, or the evaluations, which we are given about 45 minutes to do the chart review, do the actual evaluation, and then we are given typically around 40 minutes to do a treatment on that first day, seeing how they mobilize, doing some special tests just so that we can get an idea of their condition currently so that we can track it over time and be able to move forward from there. But as I was saying before, the biggest thing was really just that mental fatigue, because there was so much new information, so many new areas that I was in, trying to figure out where everything was, everything that I needed to do for each patient, depending on whether it was a progress note or an evaluation or just a regular treatment, and the order in order to do those items, because I did find that, of course, when you're doing a discharge, you should make sure to do the treatment note prior to doing the discharge summary, because then you can discharge the patient from the care and you have to go through all of these steps that, of course, it was a great learning experience for me, and I know not to do that again, but, in my head, I was thinking discharge, I got to go into the discharge and do that right away. So I have progressively over the remaining 2 weeks of this past month really started to hone in and become more efficient with all of my documentation. I know exactly what's happening, and just like I have done in all of my previous clinicals, as you can see in the videos, if you've seen them before from me, from all of my Day in the Life series from my clinicals, I created a sheet to help myself with evaluations to make sure I was hitting all of the boxes, because the documentation system that I am using has a lot of click-in boxes to do. So knowing that, I made sure to write that down, so I remembered to ask those questions and got the information I needed to completely fill out the evaluation without any errors or issues. So that has helped me greatly as a whole, and I highly recommend it, just like I have done in all of my past clinicals, to do it, especially when you're just learning, because it helps make you more efficient and make sure that you have that reminder to ask the questions that you need for your evaluation. Now, in weeks 3 and 4 of this past month, I really started to try to make sure that I was being more efficient with my notes and knowing exactly what was fluff, what wasn't fluff, and trying to trim down to make sure that I was able to take on more patients day by day. And throughout week 3, I basically went anywhere between 8 to 9 patients throughout that entire week. Of course, depending on if it was an evaluation, progress note, all of those things, but it was typically 8 to 9 patients, and I was finishing those weeks in relatively good time, except for I'm finding that right now I don't have a laptop dedicated to myself yet, because they're still getting that ordered and getting it through for me. So as a result, I have been waiting for other people to be able to use their laptops when either they aren't there for the day, or once they're done with documentation, or they're off doing some treatments, I can utilize their laptops, which has taken up a lot of time, I think, in week 3, where I did have some really long days where I stayed at work for 11 and a half hours sometimes instead of the 10, just because I increased that caseload just past what I felt I was comfortable with last week, because I was not doing treatments all the time, so I could utilize people's laptops whenever they went and did their treatments. So I was finding that that was really hard. But then in week 4, I continued on, and I actually, for a majority of the week, this past week, had between 8 to 11 or 12 patients at times, and was able to complete all of that work within my 10-hour days. So I am basically reaching that full amount for what would be an 8-hour day. And that's without having my own laptop and everything. I'm sure once I get that, I'll become more efficient because I can have my laptop up along with me as I'm going in between patients during those short little periods in between, because sometimes when I'm scheduling, not everyone is ready exactly when I do schedule them. So I try to go to the nursing station sometimes and utilize their computer, but it will be easier once I have a laptop of my own to do that paperwork. But overall, even though I have become more efficient, I have spent less time actually being at the clinic, especially after that week 3, not going into that overtime area. I have really found that even though I have become more efficient, I'm still having that degree of fatigue at the end of the day, which is very normal as you're making that transition. I recognize, but it's something that I really want to work on this next month as I move forward, and something that I want to share with you all. And I would love if you can down below to let me know if you would either like that to be in weekly installments or to do like this, where I kind of summarize the week as a whole, run you through each week or each day, and tell you about exactly what I'm doing for my own longevity and mental health as a new graduate physical therapist. Because don't get me wrong, have enjoyed my time during my treatments overall so much. I have clicked with everyone at my clinic, from the therapists, the speech therapists, occupational therapists, the physical therapists. All of them have been so nice. I feel very at home there, and getting to interact with the patients and having such positive interactions with them has been so rewarding. But I know that, especially as a new graduate, I do not want to start seeping into burnout early, and I want to establish those habits early on so that I feel comfortable with that. So for the next month, while I'm going through my second month as a full-fledged doctor of physical therapy, I want to work on those maintenance techniques and really focusing on doing at least one thing every day for myself to make myself feel fulfilled, make myself feel regenerated, and have that energy to go in full-fledged, ready to give my energy to each patient every day, because I feel like I've been able to maintain it throughout that first month. But I know that my practices right now are not sustainable, and I want to get back into working out, at least going for some walks and maintaining that health outside of the clinic, not just doing the work that I am in clinic, helping lift patients, doing all of that, but actually doing things that matter to me, and training for some of the things like snowboarding that I've been trying out this year. I've been out about 5 times this year. I did it about 3 times in this first month that I have been working, especially because I work those 10-hour days. I have that extra day off, which has been wonderful to be able to do that. But I want to become more consistent and set a good example for you all as you become doctors of physical therapy as well, or so that you can at least see what it's like to maintain that lifestyle as a doctor of physical therapy. So that's kind of my goal for this next month. I'm hoping throughout my first year as a doctor of physical therapy, I can do kind of these sit down month to month videos with you all to talk to you about what I'm kind of working on throughout those times. I can do it in the day in the life series type ways, or I can do it in these update videos every month or even 2 weeks if that would be better for you guys. If you have an opinion, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. But I think that this next month, that will be my goal, is my own mental health and maintaining my energy. And then probably for month 3, we'll revisit it after this next month. But I think what I'll really want to focus on is looking into the literature more, refining the type of outcome measures and things like that that I utilize within my practice so far. Because, of course, knowing that I am someone who likes to have resources ready, I have created a little PT book for myself that I have kind of as a resource with some outcome measures for like patient-specific functional scales, something that I have always encouraged for you guys to use with everyone. Things like 5 times sit to stand that give me all of the cutoff scores and all of that, so that I can have it as a reference within clinic that I can quickly look back as I'm doing my note, get an idea of where my patient is at, especially with some of the things like balance, the 4-square test, the dynamic gait index, and one of the ones that we use a lot at my clinic, the Tenetti, I made sure to put everything in there for myself and have a copy of it so that I can always look at it and remind myself of everything that's on there before I go into a patient encounter. So I'm continuing to create those resources for myself to decrease the cognitive load, because I know that right now, as a new graduate, that's the biggest thing. So that's kind of my focus right now. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe down below. Also, let me know of any other videos, including related to these update videos or even potential day in the life videos. If you feel like you prefer those over this type of video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. But thank you all so much for watching. I know that it was a long wait since the last video, but I've really just been trying to figure out how I want to portray my thoughts, and I felt it was a little bit jumbled in the day in the life videos that I had made before, so this seemed more appropriate to me, and hopefully it came across well for you all. If you have any questions regarding my experience on things that I didn't touch on, leave them in the comment down below and I'll make sure to check out them so that we can address them in the next update video coming up soon. But thank you all so much for watching. This has been KBDBT, and I'll see you all in the next video.